Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Welcome back to some tabletop simulator. And today we're going to be playing Fields of Fire. Yes, we are getting into extreme levels of nerdery here. The solo military sim war game field of nerdery, where the cover of the rule book has just photos of various military conflicts, like Polaroids on a brown beige background, and the one of the mission books is just another photo of a war, World War II, and all the charts are just like gray and green and brown. This is pretty new to me, and I don't fuck with the war gaming stuff much. Not out of really disinterest, just out of like, I just, I wargaming tradition. I mean, it's usually like two players, like 1v1. We're gonna play advanced squad later or something, and just a 1v1 kind of thing. And I never had somebody that would do that, and I never sought out anybody that wanted to do that. My only real experience with war games or anything close to it is like Memoir 44, which is pretty casual. I mean, it's a very mainstream. I wouldn't be shocked to see Memoir at like Target kind of thing. Um, but I was looking around. I always am now poking around for solo board gaming things and blah blah blah. And Fields of Fire popped up as being a pretty intensive solo experience. And I was like, I'm not opposed to the theme. I'm not opposed to heavy rules and complex rules and all that sort of stuff. And this one is really rated quite well. So sure, why don't we give it a try? And I have spent some time with it. There is a training manual that goes through a series of training missions and kind of adds on new mechanics each time and shows you new things each time. This is dense. All right, I'm just warning you now. This is complicated. This is not for lightweights. Fields of Fire is weighted about 4 point. This is the deluxe edition, so it's weighted 4.59 out of 5. This is one of the heaviest things that I've ever looked at. Um, Again, just for comparison, Magic Realm, which is the crowning jewel of complexity of what I've looked at prior, 4.56. So this is weighted as slightly more complex, slightly heavier than Magic Realm, which is mind-boggling to me, but it is. Magic Realm, though, is largely complex just due to archaic rule design and a really just like extremely dense rule book. Um, but it is a very complex game, and it took me a long time to figure out how it's supposed to flow and how it's supposed to work. And this game is really no different. I still, um, yeah, there's a lot that I don't know about this game. But I mean, the core gameplay, the core thing of what you're doing each turn, is not absurdly complicated. Of course, I mean, how complicated could it be and still be fun? So the core aspect of what you're doing is not too crazy. It's just there's so many like little fringe situations and so many little tiny rules that can pop up because you're in this position and the enemy's in this position and this thing just happened, and because of that there's this thing that's happening, which is in rule 6.4.7 sort of thing. The rule book it's a lot of text and it's very densely just numbered and tables, and yeah, I mean it's a bear, don't get me wrong. However, I'm not doing this and I'm not showing this just because it's complicated. there is a real kind of beauty to this game, and it is actually very entertaining. And it is like very well designed. It's just designed to be a very heavy game with a lot of different possibilities. That's the point. Um, so this is not a strictly World War II game, although that's basically all I've been looking at. It covers between World War II and the present day, across all the different expansions and mission books and things like that. It covers sort of everything, but it's just a rifle company. So it's not obviously a grand scale war of, this is all of World War II and you're in charge of, the navies and the Air Force and all these different, fronts of the war. And, it's just you're handling rifle companies. So I want to just do this video, if nothing else, just kind of show off the game and the very basics of it, and also sort of to cement my own understanding of the rules up to this point. I would like to do more. I think it would be cool to learn more and to do more, but we'll see. There's a lot. It's very thick. I've said that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna set up the platoon assault course run 3 potential contacts. So this is not even the company assault course, where I think you actually step up and have 2 different platoons. This is you're going to be in charge of just 1 platoon. So the first run, you are just handling like movement and how to activate your units and things like that. There's not even an enemy on the field. The goal is just to get to the other side of the map, as it were, other side of the field. Then the run 2, it puts in a single unit, like a sort of a defensive position, light machine gun in some foxholes at the far end of the field, and you have to just kind of rush them out and clear them out. Then run 3 introduces basically the core sort of concept of the whole game, where you kind of just start at a map. You start on the map, and calling it a map is a bit generous, but you start on the field, and all there is just potential contacts, and you don't know where the enemy is, and you kind of have to see where the enemy's going to pop up or how they're going to pop up, and then deal with them as you go and as you kind of clear them out. So that's what we're going to do, and I'm not going to go through, it kind of does, the first couple ones kind of guide you through it turn by turn and say, okay, we do this, we draw this card so we can do this. Like, it's all very guided, and you're meant to kind of follow along, but you're not really making many decisions for yourself. At the end of the second run, it just says, like, go back to the start of this one and attempt to achieve the following objectives. And gives you different things to try now that you've kind of learned the basics of how it's supposed to go. This third one, though, it teaches you the basics of how to reveal contacts and stuff like that, but at this point, like, enough how to clear this mission yourself. So there's not really too many rules. It just goes through like a couple turns and then is just like, carry on with the remaining steps and try to complete the mission in a few more turns yourself, So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to just set up this mission and then do this mission ourselves. So our objective is, I think, just to secure the woods on the hill on column 2, row 3. This means the card must have US units present and no enemy units. So basically, we largely have to clear the whole field. And so we're going to set up the map, first of all. And this is the map. And they call it a map. It's a map. It's just a series of cards. Which makes you think, like, when you first look at this game, it's like, wow, it's a pretty lightweight game. It's just like a dozen cards making up a map. And then a few tokens sprinkled around. Like, it's really light, little, small game. But no, it's thick, man. It's thick. It's real. So we're gonna set up the map, staging area, and then we have some open fields. Let's see here. We got we do have some Orchard Grove to the left and to the right here. And then we've got some woods up top. Okay. We have open fields. I think it's up on a hill. Yeah, that one's up on a hill. Hold on. More woods, hill. Open fields. Open fields. Woods on the hill. Yeah, there you go. And one more open field. Please, I know they're not very pretty cards. They're not even in color. uh, I don't know why we have to make the game look so drab just because it's about World War II. They had color back then, as far as I understand. Open fields. Okay. So that's our field. It's our map. And we are going to we're going to be putting potential contacts. So this indicates where enemies might be or where certain things might be, such as like mortar fire or something like that. We might walk onto one of these things and suddenly we get hit by mortars. So Bs are kind of the mid-tier contacts. They're not as likely, but As are often just like highly likely or guaranteed enemies. So, I mean, there's gonna be Nazis out there. Trust me. Then, as far as for our units, we just get a single platoon. As I mentioned, this is the basic stuff. So we have platoon 1 HQ. And then we have 3 platoon units. I don't know all the terminology, and I really don't know much about the military. I'm not a military guy or anything like that. I mean, I like movies where people shoot at each other. That's about the extent of it. So don't come at me about military terminology and all that. I'll try to use what military terms I notice in the game, but that's kind of about it. So I don't know the difference between a platoon and a squad and a sortie, or I don't know, all the different things. So yeah, we have right, the platoon HQ. These are basically our commander is probably not the correct term, but I'm going to call it a commander because you know what I mean, most likely. He's leading the platoon. The 3 units, they all have an S, which means they use small arms. Which, you know, it's just rifles and things like that. They have long range, which means that they can shoot farther than just an adjacent card. They can actually shoot up to 2 cards away if they have line of sight. We have a light machine gun team. So they are actually a bit more powerful. They have the automatic fire instead of small arms, so that's one step up, which is nice. It's good. They also have long range. However, this yellow dot means that they only have 1 step, which is basically like their health, if you want to consider it that way. Our normal units have 3 health. The LMG only has 1, so it's pretty vulnerable. It's more powerful, and that is a benefit, of course. But you know, we don't want to necessarily risk it just willy-nilly because it's pretty vulnerable. Same thing with the anti-tank. This is like the anti-tank grenade launcher. There aren't going to be any tanks on this, and I'm sure I won't encounter a tank in general for a long time. But this is also, you know, anti-infantry because it can shoot grenades up to close range, which is 1 card adjacent. And grenades are quite useful. I don't know if you know that, but yeah, they can actually really compound your firepower. And especially due to the way the rules are set up, adding more just small arms doesn't really change the fight that much, but tossing in a grenade launcher into the mix can drastically change the fight. And then we have a mortar forward observer. So this one can actually call in mortar fire from off the map. Um, they're not guaranteed to do so. It's kind of like a car. It's a dice roll sort of thing. There aren't dice. We'll explain the mechanics for that, but there's not guaranteed to call in mortar fire anytime they're activated, but they can. And mortar fire is also, well, obviously quite devastating, similar to grenades, and they can call it in up to line of sight, which can be quite far. I mean, this map's obviously not that big, but yeah, I mean, if I get them onto here and I see an enemy up in the woods on this hill up here, they can call in mortar fire on it, and that could really shred their day, to say the least. So that's our squad. That's our platoon. Yes, that's our platoon. Right. Other rules that we have to follow. The German units in this run are using the hasty defense tactics, which I'll explain much later. The mortar forward observer has 2 fire missions of 81 millimeter mortars and draws 2 cards when attempting to call for fires. So we have basically the standard mortar from off map, and we have the standard chance of them calling it in successfully. If successful, a mortar attack with a volume of fire of -3 will be placed on the enemy, which is pretty good. I mean, you're not going to blow your nose at that, but it's, yeah. Other weapons, bazooka, German, and US machine guns do not track ammo in this assault course. Yeah, I haven't gotten to the point of tracking ammo usage. Someday, though. Someday. We don't really have to get into the general specifics of how to play the turns because I'm going to be explaining it to you. So this is our big tracker, turn-to-turn tracker. And we can ignore all this because I think this is for the campaign and stuff. But we're mostly interested in tracking the phases. I'm not going to move this, but I'm going to look at this from time to time. And we're going to be tracking our actions, our command tracking here. So we're actually skipping a lot of these phases because I haven't gotten to these mechanics, such as like the event phase for higher headquarters and things like that, and blah, blah, blah. Mostly we're interested in this phase right here. This is the main phase of the game where you're going to be doing most of the exciting stuff, or most of the important stuff, the friendly command phase. And during this, you're going to go down kind of in a sequence, and you're going to be activating the different tiers of HQs. So, like the BN HQ, I think is the battalion, right? This is the battalion HQ. So, it depends on how large scale of a mission you're doing here. If you have a battalion headquarter that gets activated, and then he gets a number of commands, and then he can spend those to activate lower headquarters, and then you go down to the CO, and then they get activated, and they activate a certain number of ones underneath them, and they activate 2 of their platoons, and blah blah blah. But we just have one. We have the platoon headquarters. Technically, we do have a CO. The COHQ. He's off map, and he has 1 activation, and his 1 activation is to activate the first PLT, the first platoon headquarters, or I think that's what HQ stands for. It's just weird. I'm sure that's probably explained. I mean, it seems weird to call it headquarters, even though I don't know what else HQ would stand for, and it was never clarified. Yeah, it stands for headquarters unit. So that's your commander, the leadership. So anyways, so we have a CO. He's activating the first platoon each turn, so we don't have to bother with any of that. If we had multiple platoons, he might have to draw a card to see how many actions he gets and how many platoon headquarters that he could activate per turn. But we're always going to be able to activate our first platoon HQ. So when we activate our first platoon HQ each turn, we're gonna just draw a card, and these cards are fucking like just marvelous. Like the amount of info and the amount of mechanics that they have squeezed onto this one card deck. Like basically everything you do is through this card deck. all the randomization of everything is through these cards. So they look pretty intimidating. There's just lots of numbers and numbers all over in different locations, different symbols in different places, and all sorts of stuff. Um, it's a lot going on. But once you learn how to read it, it is really incredible. Um, so the number that we're most interested in right now is this top left one. That is the number of command points that our first platoon HQ is going to get from the CEO this turn. The CEO this turn, which is 3. So we're going to take the first PLT and we're going to put him here with 3 commands available. And then we go down and now we go to the well, yeah, so we're on this PLT HQ impulse. So we can save these commands now or expend them on orders to itself or other units up to the maximum per turn according to visibility and experience level. It is daylight now, it's clear weather, so the standard number of points that we could spend theoretically if we had more than that is 6. So we can spend or save up to 6 this turn. Obviously, we're going to spend 3. But if we get more and we don't want to spend them, we can save some of them for the next turn. Because you're not always going to get 3. Sometimes you might get more, sometimes you might get less. So we're spending these 3, and what can you do with them? Well, basically anything on this massive table of different actions. This is the action menus. And you'll see a lot of these for cost, say 1. And most things in the game cost you 1 command. And to give commands to units, from one of the HQs, you have to have communication lines with them. Because you can't just have a guy off in no man's land and then tell him what to do. You know, that's not realistic. So, generally, the basic form of communication is called verbal visual communication, which basically just means, you know, you're shouting to them or using hand signals or blah, blah, blah. But mechanically, it just means that an HQ can give orders to units that are on the same card as them. Okay, so in order to move around and activate and whatever these other little units, I have to have this guy on the same card as them, which is fine. But as you're going to see, obviously that gets kind of complicated because you can't be everywhere. So units are going to be just trusted to kind of act in their own volition when their leader isn't with them. But right now we're all together in the staging area, and the staging area is not part of the map. It can't be targeted, it can't be fired upon or anything like that. It is off map, essentially. Sort of. But we need to get out there because we need to clear all the contact. We need to clear the fields and clear the Nazis and blah, blah, blah. So we got to get troops out there in order to find enemies. And the tutorial, the training mission, suggests sending out 1 unit to each of these 3 fields because you can move diagonally. So for 1 command, I'm going to send this guy here, then I'm going to send 1 guy here, and then I'm going to send 1 guy here. And that's my 3 commands. So now we are done. And that's it. And we don't reveal the context just yet. That happens in a later phase, but all my commands have been issued. So my HQ, the LMG, the AT, the forward observer, they're all still in the staging area. But now the danger is real. Okay. After that, we get... Oh, also, anytime you move a unit just with a standard movement, which is called move to adjacent card, anytime you do that, they get marked with an exposed chit. And this is really bad. You don't want to get exposed. Because an expose is -2 to the volume of fire modifier, which basically makes you much more likely to take a hit from any enemy fire that's going to be coming in. So these guys are all exposed. They're all out there. It's quite dangerous. But I mean, there's no other option. I mean, you're you're going to have exposed units from time to time. That's part of war, especially moving out onto an open field. It's just bad. Um, Anytime you're on the offensive and you're not in a bunker or anything, it's going to happen. Then, now that we've done all of our first platoon, then we go down to the general initiative impulse after skipping all these other things. So now we're going to draw another card, and we look at this smaller number with the star, and that's our number of general initiative actions or general initiative commands that we can spend. These are more special because they can be given to any unit that is in good order, I believe. Is that what it says? No, it doesn't even have to be in good order. Basically, any unit. Literally any unit, any HQ, anything. Anything that's on the field can take these general initiatives. Which is really nice, because then you can actually have a unit, like, move or do something even if they're not from, even if they're not with your leader. They can kind of act on their own initiative here. It's a very powerful tool. However, if you only have one platoon in play, like we do, you only get half this number rounded down. So if this had been a 1, I would have gotten nothing. If this had been a 3, I would have gotten 1. We also get 1. And it's pretty rare for this number to be higher than 3. So generally, we're only going to get like 1 action, general action per turn. So, there's a few things that we could do, but right now we're kind of lacking information about the potential contacts. We know enemies are going to show up somewhere, we just don't know where. So we don't know, we don't really want to throw our LMG into a potentially really dangerous situation and just get cut down. Whereas if I wait a turn, we can kind of observe the field, where the enemies are, where it can maneuver to get a shot without getting shot itself, sort of thing. So one thing that we can do, and again, I'm going to follow the recommendation of the manual just because it seems smart, is we can have one of our guys attempt to find cover. Even though this is an open field, there is a small amount of cover. And that's represented by this bottom section here. So each of these open fields has room for one cover, which is fine. You can fit, I believe, any amount of units under one cover. Although the more units you put under one cover, the more vulnerable they are to like grenades or mortar fire or anything like that. Obviously, they're all bunched up. So you have some like Orchard Groves that actually have 2 cover, and so you're gonna have like 2 separate stacks of units under cover, 2 different units just under their own cover. So they're kind of spread out a little bit. Also, the number in the middle here, the little cards number, that's how many cards you're going to draw to see if they find cover, if they do the action to attempt to find cover. So you want to draw more cards for this, because that raises your chances, as you'll see in a second. So out in the open field, it's very unlikely you're going to find cover. And if you do, there's not much of it. Whereas in the woods, you're pretty likely to find cover, and there's a lot of it. Now, either way, that is not like the quality of the cover. Regardless of where you are, if you find cover, it's just going to be a +1 to our VOF. So it doesn't even negate the exposed penalty, but it's something. So we're just going to have this one, this middle, this is column 2. We're going to have them try to seek cover with their general initiative. So we're going to draw 2 cards, and what we're looking for is just the word cover. Which is right there. So we got kind of lucky there. So we draw 2. You always draw whatever you need to draw. And now you can see why there's different words and different symbols and things like that. That's kind of part of the RNG. So had we not seen cover, we would not have found cover. But since we did find cover, we find cover. Simple as that. Again, it's just like a really nice, elegant thing. I can't believe how much utility they get out of just this one, like, 50 card deck. But all right, so we found basic cover. Again, that does not negate our exposed. which is a bit of an oxymoron. We're both in cover and exposed, but basically, like the enemy has just kind of immediately noticed us and dialed in. We haven't really settled into our cover properly yet, but we have some cover. We're doing better than the other two units. And that's it. That was our one general initiative for this turn, so we move on. Then we would go to the offensive missions / combat patrols enemy activity phase, but there are no enemies on the field, so we skip that. The mutual capture and retreat phase, nothing to capture or retreat from. There's no anti-tank combat or vehicles or anything like that, so we go to the mutual combat phase, skip the fire mission update segment, blah, 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 and go to 3.7.2 potential contact evaluation segment. And here is when we're going to be determining what contact we have found. And this is based on a couple of factors. One is, of course, the letter, A being the most likely and B being less likely, and C being way less likely. The second part is the current level of activity. Right now, there's no contact. No enemy units have been spotted. There's been no volume of fire or PDF markers on the map. Like, just obviously a boring day up to this point. Next to that would be contact. If one card is under a VOF marker, or at least one spotted enemy is on the map. Then engaged if 2 or more occupied cards are under VOF markers, and heavily engaged, which is engaged, but also one of the cards has both friendly and enemy units on the same card, which doesn't happen. I mean, I have yet to actually do that, to be honest. So, and then the third factor is going to be, as far as what actually we draw, is based on the package, the enemy package table, which is supplied usually per mission. So this is our package table for this mission, and we'll explain that in a second. So first we need to determine which one of these checks first. And since this does actually matter, it's not like all simultaneous, because right now we're at no contact. But as soon as we have an enemy and they show up and start firing at us, we're going to go into contact, and that applies immediately. So that does actually affect the other two A markers as far as their likelihood to have an enemy or any sort of contact. So we need to randomize this, whether it's the first card, the second card, or the third card. And normally with a lot of games, dungeon crawlers, blah, 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 anytime I need to randomize something, I just roll like a d6 and assign 1 to 2 to this thing and blah, blah, blah. But since there's a lot of that kind of stuff in this game, they have solved that with the action deck. So we're going to draw this card. And this is what these numbers down at the bottom mean. You look at how many options you have to pick from. So in this case, we have 3 options to pick from. Card 1, 2, and 3. And then it'll tell you which option is the randomized pick. So in this case, it's the third option. So of our 3 options, we pick the third one, which means this is the one we're resolving first. And since we're at no contact, and it's an A marker, that means it's auto. It's automatically contact. So there's no card draw to see if contact is made with an enemy or something, or if nothing happens. It's just automatically we draw from the package. So now we go to our packages. And this is potential contact A. And this is going to be our options. So basically, the number on the right is the number of options for the card draw. So there's 4 options, and I know that's kind of weird because there's only 2 options, but as far as the randomization is concerned, there's 4 options. And if we draw 1, we pick package 1. If we pick 2 to 4, then we pick package 2. So we're going to just draw this. I'll explain it again. Okay, so we're going to this column, the 4 column, because that's what it's saying. There's 4 options, and it's a 1. This is an interesting card because it's always 1. So we go to 4. We go to this. So it's 1, the 1 option of 4, which means we get package 1. And package 1 in this case, for this mission specifically, is an incoming mortar. -3 volume of fire with no spotter placed. And it's placed on the triggering card. So that means this unit has walked into some goddamn mortar fire, which is pretty bad. So we're going to go here and go to, I believe it's this. Yes, incoming. This is pretty bad. And in fact, I believe this is one of the examples of what happens during the... Yeah. Yeah. So this is happening immediately. Normally when you call in mortar fire, you call it with a pending fire mission. And then later it switches to incoming. But right now, there's no option for us to avoid this. Like, it's going to happen right now. And we are almost certainly going to lose some units here. This is going to get... There's going to be potentially casualties. We are exposed in an open field under mortar fire. That's not good from my brief understanding of military engagements during World War II. But also, now we have contact, because this counts as a VOF, or volume of fire. This is any sort of fire between... from one side to another side. So this is a VOF, so we are now at contact. Okay, and we will resolve that later, slightly later during this step, during the combat effects segment. So then we need to resolve these two other potential contacts still. And we need to, again, randomize that. 2 options, and we're picking the first one. So that's going to be this left one. And this is no longer automatic because we're under contact. But we're going to draw 7 cards. And if any one of them has the word contact on it, we are going to have a contact here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, yep, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we did have one that has contact, so we're going to have some sort of contact here. And again, it's the same thing. This table does not get influenced by the level of contact. It's just whether it's A or B. So again, we're doing the 4 option one. It's going to be 2 this time. It was unlikely to be 1 twice in a row. So now we're going to go and we're going to have package 2, which is an LMG unit, a Nazi LMG unit in a foxhole. And it is not spotted, it is unspotted. So they just start firing on us and we don't know where they're coming from. Even though I, as a player, know where they're coming from, obviously, because I place them there. My units don't know where it's coming from. They have to spot it. And it's going to be on a random card on row 2, which is going to be this row. Now, it says random, but it can't quite be fully random, because the rules for package placement is that it always has to... Basically, it always has to affect the triggering unit. So this LMG always has to be able to fire upon this that kind of uncovered it. Like, that is the contact. You know, it wouldn't make any sense otherwise. Because if it was an unspotted unit that wasn't firing on us and didn't notice us, there wouldn't be a contact, right? That would just be nothing. So that means we have to randomize these 2. These are the only ones that have line of sight and can fire on this one. This one does not have line of sight. So again, we got to draw a card to randomize the 2 options, and it's going to be number 2. So we're going to take an LMG unit for the Nazis. We're going to put it here. We're going to take a foxhole. This is like what they call a permanent cover. And this gives them +1 to the VOF if we fire upon them, so they are less likely to be injured or hit. And then we're going to take a PDF. And I don't remember what PDF stands for. Let me just Google that real quick. Primary direction of fire, yes. And I guess I could switch this to 15, so we get... There you go. So this is their primary direction of fire. They're firing from this card to this card and shooting at here, which means we now need to assign a VOF to that, which is going to be this, and it is automatic weapons because they have the A there, much like my LMG. So they are firing automatic weapon fire onto our exposed unit, which is quite bad. This is really not looking good. The one unit that I picked to get cover is so far avoiding any bad stuff, but not guaranteed. There's still potential. Right. So again, this will get resolved. That fire that will get resolved this phase. That's going to happen. We're just lining everything up so we know what's all going to be placed down. But yeah, it's not looking super hot, but you know, we've still got options, we've still got units, we've got things in reserve. Don't worry. So now we need to resolve this last potential contact, but now we're on engaged because now 2 or more occupied cards are under VOF markers. This one from the mortar and this one from the LMG team. So we're under engaged, which means that for this third card, this third contact, potentially, we're going to draw 5 cards and look for the contact word. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There, we got lucky. So there was no contact here. Last thing that I need to spot, need to put down is that this this LMG is unspotted. Here, unspotted. So that means that if they were spotted, we would immediately open fire on them. Like, your units will open fire automatically. They do not need to be told to do that. They know that they're at war and the Nazis are bad and they would need to shoot them and all that. So they would immediately begin open fire. So we'd actually put this both ways and we'd put another marker here going this way. And that would be very good for us. But as it is, we're just getting fired upon from some spot in the open field and we can't pin it down because we're just kind of confused. And that's bad. That's bad because we want to fire on the LMG. So we have to spot them. Okay, so I believe that's everything. We've resolved all the potential contacts that we have units on. So we're going to skip over the pinned recovery segment because nobody is pinned, and we go to the combat effects segment. And we are now going to resolve each of these hits, these potential hits. And like I said, it's not going to be good for us. So this does not matter. We do not update anything really until the end of this phase. So the order in which you resolve this has no bearing on one another. So, I mean, it does advise that you kind of have a standard scheme of like left to right, top to bottom. So you don't resolve things twice. You don't miss anything, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, otherwise it doesn't matter. So we're just going to do this one first. So this is our exposed unit under automatic weapon fire in an open field. And what we're doing here is calculating the NCM, which stands for Net Combat Modifier. So we're just kind of adding up all these numbers and all these modifiers. So we have +0 from the open fields. It does not provide much cover or defensive bonus of any kind on its own. So +0, and then -1, and then -2. Negatives are bad for you. That is more likely to be hit. You do not want that. So we're at a total of -3, which means we're almost certainly going to get hit. And once again, we draw a card, and that's what these left numbers correspond to. And you're going to draw a card for each individual unit that's under fire and can potentially get hit. So we're going to draw this for our unit there, -3, and of course it's a hit. That's bad. So now we draw another card to determine the hit effect. And we are line units. We are not veteran units, and we're not green units. We are line units. That's the standard one. And there's 2 letters here, P and an L. We only have 1 unit that's being affected. But I think that's not correct. I think it's each step, right? This one I have to go back to the rules for. Yes, these are two separate steps. So that's what they call kind of the health that I said. So this unit has 3 steps. So since this is a 2-letter one instead of a 1-letter card, yeah, like this would be a 1-letter. So that would only hit 1 step. This one's kind of worse because it's hitting 2 steps. So we basically get hit twice. P stands for paralyzed. That's bad. That means 1 step of our units, basically a third of our unit's health, is getting converted to a paralyzed unit. Paralyzed units are the worst stage you can be at while still being recoverable. Basically, it goes down the sort of order of severity. You can be an assault team, which is like just below a unit. You can go down to a fire team. Then you can go down to a litter team. And then you can go down to paralyzed. And that's kind of the worst one. Paralyzed can't really do anything. The only thing they can really do is like they can move to an adjacent card, but only if that card is a staging area or is friendly occupied and has no VOF on it. And that's like it. Like the only thing they can do really is just retreat. Whereas a litter team can move or infiltrate to an adjacent card, but only if it's a staging area or is friendly occupied and it has no VOF on it. And they can also do all other actions except platoon move / platoon infiltrate. The only thing they can't really do is fire. They have no gun. They're not going to use their guns or anything. But yeah, paralyzed is the worst. The actual worst that you can do would be a C, which is casualty. You become a casualty, you're a non-recoverable, and you are just kind of done. You are just out of the fight, basically. You can still be recovered. You can be carried off the field back to the staging area or something. And I think in the campaign, you can sort of be maybe reconstituted into a unit again. But as far as the mission's concerned, you're done. So this means 1 step of our unit is going to become paralyzed, and then another step is going to become a litter team. The 3rd step will then be automatically downgraded to a fire team. So if we flip this, well, we pull an LAT team. Okay, so since there is, okay, so, right. So one's a litter team, one's paralyzed, and then the last one will become a fire team. It will not be a unit anymore. It will not be a unit in good order, as they say. So we actually just remove it off the field. It is possible to come back to that at some point, but for now it is gone, and all we have is a fire team. A fire team is still functional. It's only 1 step, it's only 1 health, but it still can do small arms fire, so it still can shoot at enemies. But not at long range, only at close range. So that is that. So yeah, we kind of got devastated. Not utterly, it could have been worse. There could have been actual casualties, but it's pretty bad, and we're still under automatic weapon fire, so it can still get worse. We are also pinned. All 3 of us here, all 3 of this units now, separate units, are all pinned. So we've kind of scattered. We're kind of split apart. We're no longer a good functioning team or anything like that, and we're all pinned down under fire. Pinned is good in that it gives us a +1 to our VOF. So it sort of cancels out the automatic weapon fire as far as the modifiers are concerned. But it's bad because it limits what we can actually accomplish and what we can actually do as a unit. We can't really do much. We will still fire, I believe. But we can't like concentrate fire. We can't do grenade attacks. We can't. Yeah, we can't really do much of anything. But we can still move. to a spot with no VOF or to the staging area, so we can retreat. Um, oh yeah, yes, we still fire, but our fire actually becomes a reduced to pinned. So we actually give them a +2 modifier instead of like a 0. So we're firing, but it's really, really ineffective. We can potentially rally or try to rally to remove the pin marker, but otherwise we're pinned. And this is not a good position for us to be in, but it's the position we're in. Okay. Then we need to resolve this, the incoming mortar fire. And this one is also really bad. We are exposed under mortar fire, so that is a -5 modifier to this unit. And we will draw that, and it caps out at -4. So yes, we get hit. So this unit gets hit. We draw that. It's an F. This is actually the best case result for us. Like legitimately, the best way this could have possibly gone. That means that one step of our unit is going to convert to a fire team. So we're going to pull the LAT team. So we are still a unit largely in good order. Like you can see the stats and stuff don't change. We're still capable of small arms fire and still capable of shooting long range. We just have only 2 steps remaining. And then we're also joined by a now slightly separated fire team. And you know, they can move separately. They are now separated. If we wanted to move them separately, but yes, they also could be, I think, rallied, reconstituted. I think it's called reconstituted. Yeah, you can reconstitute the squad and return them to where they were. But I've never done that, so I'm not quite sure on how that works. And it really shouldn't be necessary for this mission, but I probably should learn how it works. But that was absolutely the best case result, and we are now pinned. Okay, so we resolved all the combat effects. So now we are going to do the cleanup phase. We remove pyrotechnic, smoke, illumination, exposed, moved, fired, concentrated fire, booby trap, grenade, and grenade miss markers. We don't remove the existing incoming symbol, the VOF thing, from the mortars until the start of the next mutual combat phase. So it only applied once. It's only going to apply once. However, that does affect line of sight. There is no line of sight into this card. I think it talked about that somewhere. Yeah. Incoming marker will remain until the combat phase of the next turn, blocking line of sight from that card. This will make spotting the enemy LMG tricky. Can they... yeah, see, I still have a lot of questions. Yeah, I don't know. Well, either way, it stays there. So we are still at engage and blah, blah, blah. We also remove the exposed. That's only for that one shot, that one turn, that one phase, blah, blah, blah. So that's that. And now we... and that's it. And that's it. That's the cleanup phase. So we go to turn 2. This thing goes back here. And we start a new round, new turn. So we go back, of course, to the friendly command phase. Our CO activates the first platoon commander. We're going to draw a card. Okay, so after this action, we're going to reshuffle the action deck. And we got 2. That's really not good. Geez. So I have 2 actions to try to order my platoon commander to give orders to other units and blah blah blah. I actually think we might not. I don't think we're actually pinned anymore. Hold on. Let me double check that. Hmm. No, I guess we were pinned. When does that get removed? Oh, yeah, 3.73. Remove pin markers from any vehicle or infantry units that are not under a VOF, and this will get removed at the start of that phase. So, yeah, okay. But for the purposes of this command phase, they are pinned, which is annoying. Right. Okay. So, yeah, this is rough. I would have definitely liked to have had more because I would have liked to have moved my LMG up and done something else. Um, what we want to do, of course, the big thing that we need to do is spot this fucking LMG. Like that is vital. And so what we're trying to do is attempt to spot. So this is comes from any HQ or staff, and any good order unit with line of sight to an unspotted enemy can do it. And then we draw 2 cards, and we look for the crosshairs icon, in which case we do it. So, I have to, if I want to do it during this command impulse, this phase, whatever you want to call it, I have to have this guy do it. And we can't be in the staging area because there's no line of sight here. So I have to move this guy in, and then I'd have to have this guy attempt it. And that would be my 2 actions. So we'd be leaving the LMG behind. I'm not enamored with this, but it's probably our best bet. And even then, we're only drawing 2 cards. So we kind of have a slim chance of even spotting them. But we might use our general initiative to also spot them. We really need to do this because that's gonna swing things in our favor a bit. So yes, I'm gonna use one command to move the first platoon HQ up, and then I'm gonna spend my second one to attempt a spot this unit onto this thing. So we're gonna draw 2 cards and hope we see the crosshairs icon. No, no. So we failed. So that's the end of the first platoon, and now we're gonna go to the general initiative, and we rolled a 1, so we got no actions. So basically, we're just gonna continue to get pelted under fire, and it's gonna be bad. It's a lot better this time since we're not exposed and we're kind of dug in and we're pinned. So it's a +0 modifier overall here. Also, I skipped the step. I skipped the step, and I shouldn't have. Although I don't think it would have changed anything. Oh, it might have changed something. Yes, he had a 50% chance of trying to concentrate fire, which would make things worse. So that's probably what's going to happen this turn then. All right. So, anyways, well, yeah, we're resolving that now. We're done with all our friendly command phase. Right. So this, I skipped this for some reason. That was dumb of me. Oh no, I didn't skip that because there wasn't an enemy until the mutual combat phase. So no, I followed the rules. I'm correct. I'm following the phases. Right. So now, since we have an enemy, we're gonna do this. Their enemy activity phase. So for each enemy on the board, we kind of roll or do the RNG to see if they do an activity or do an action or change what they're doing or anything like that. And so that's this big sort of these various tables. So these are defensive activities. They are using hasty tactics, as described by the mission description, and then we basically go from the top bottom until we hit a category that suits what the enemy is doing. So they are not under fire. and they have a valid target along PDF. So they are shooting at someone that is not shooting at them, and no one is shooting at them. So we're in this column for this section. So it's a two possibilities. On a 1, they will not do anything differently. They'll just keep shooting. On a 2, they will attempt a grenade attack, which is basically if they had the grenade launch ability, like my AT launcher, or if they were on the same card. But I don't think, yeah. So, yeah. Or they'll attempt to concentrate fire. So we're going to draw a card, 2 options, and it is the first option. So they are not going to change anything. They're not going to do anything differently. They're just going to keep shooting, which is good for us, because if they had concentrated fire, it would have been worse. So that's that. Then no captures, no retreats, no. So now we're going to remove the existing incoming. That's that, gone. And no potential contacts any right now. We're going to recover from being pinned. So this one recovers because there's no fire or VOF or anything like that happening on this card. This one does not recover because they are still being shot at. They are still pinned down actively. Then the combat effects segment, and there is only one combat effect here. That is this LMG shooting at us. So we resolve this. +0, -1, +1 is a total of +0. But we have to resolve this for each unit in order. And I don't know if it actually goes into that here. Yeah, I don't think it actually mentions that. I had to figure that out myself because I thought it was just one hit that applied to every unit. But it says for each unit, find the net combat modifier, draw an action card, find the NCM, and then find the effect, and then blah, blah, blah. So yeah, we're doing this one at a time. And again, it doesn't really matter what order we do this in. So we'll do this for the fire team first. We're drawing a card and looking at the +0. They are pinned, but they are already pinned, so that doesn't change anything. Yeah, I mean, nothing changes. They're pinned. Then the litter team, +0, pin. Okay, same thing. And the paralyzed unit, pin. Okay, so we're continuing to be pinned down. They're not really getting any kills or anything, but we're still under heavy fire and not able to do anything about it. We still can't get a good bead on where it's coming from. But otherwise, that's it. And then that's it. Now, eventually, normally I think this would run out of ammo, possibly, or something like that, but we're not playing with that, so the hellscape never ends. All right. Turn 3. We activate first platoon HQ. We draw a card. We get 3. 3's not great, but it's something. So we're going to first attempt them to try to spot this. So we draw 2 cards, and we're looking for the crosshairs. We again did not get it. We got 2 left. I'm going to move here. Now, this is an important thing. Generally, you cannot have a unit perform the same action twice in one impulse. So an impulse is like one of these sort of lesser phases, a phase within a phase. So right now we're on this PLT impulse. This one PLT HQ is giving commands to different units. So I can't order this guy to spot twice. Once we got to the general initiative, he could attempt to spot again on his own initiative, because that's a different impulse. But yeah, I can't keep ordering him to spot over and over and over. So I'm spending my second command to move over to this card, and I'm going to have this guy now try to do it. I believe that's how it works. It's kind of complicated, to say the least, but that was my understanding of it. Because obviously the platoon commander can give the same order to different units. Otherwise, you'd never be able to move multiple units at once. But the same unit cannot receive and execute the same order, the same action more than once per impulse, except for like one thing or something like. There's like one exception. I don't remember what it is. There's like one action you're allowed to do more than once. Except for the move within a card. Yeah, which I have never done because that involves moving to like different cover and stuff. But anyways, I move here and I'm going to have this guy attempt to spot. Again, drawing 2 cards. And there it is. We got the crosshair. Thank God. So this is now a spotted unit, and that changes things immediately. This now becomes this. So this guy's under fire. And, you know, if nothing else, if that was the only situation, we would then take this small arm, this VOF, and we'd put it here. All pinned. So everything shooting right at him would be just pinned fire, which is +2, which is really not good fire. Not likely to do much. Fortunately, that is not the only thing firing at him. Because now this unit is going to be firing into him. Meaning that this now is just small arms. Because that's what he is, a small arms unit. So he's under small arms fire, but more importantly, because he's getting fired at from multiple locations, we get this nice crossfire modifier, -1. Also, this unit is firing, which consists of this, you know, PLT unit and this fire team. That doesn't add more crossfire, and it never upgrades above small arms. No matter how many units or anything like that that's firing, it's just small arms, and it's just 1 crossfire. But still, we have a lot of avenues now we're firing upon this LMG team. So our situation has improved quite a bit now that we have spotted these bastards. That was very good. I'm out of commands, so that's it. We're going to go to the general initiative. We're going to reshuffle again after this, but thank God we got 1. So I am going to, yeah, okay, so we have 1. We're going to reshuffle that. I'm going to issue a command to the LMG to move up to here. I don't think that it can just go behind the cover. I don't think that that's how it works. But I also don't know. It's a massive rule book, man. Give me a break. It says once discovered, a cover marker remains in place for the rest of the mission. I might have to Google this. Units moving into the card from another card can automatically go into cover. Okay, well, that's pretty good. So yes, we are going to move the LMG undercover. However, never forget, the LMG is exposed. For this turn right now, he is exposed. But still, he's in place, and he has line of sight on the on this spotted unit. So he immediately opens fire as well, which means we are now going to upgrade to automatic weapon fire for our VOF, because you pick whatever the highest tier you have is that's shooting. So now we're firing with a -1, combined with a crossfire -1. He's not looking as hot anymore. Okay, that turn swung things around quite a bit. So now we're going to go to the enemy activity phase, and his enemy activity is now slightly different. He is under fire, but he's under fire from a different direction to its own PDF. So basically, he's firing at this left card, but he's also getting fire from other cards. So this is the column we're rolling under, and there's a few different options for this one for hasty tactics. 5 different options. Well, 4 different options, but 5. So it has a 1 in 5 of not doing anything differently. Just keep shooting as he has been. He has a 1 in 5 chance of doing concentrate fire and trying to really just kill whatever he's been shooting at. He has a 2 in 5 chance of shifting his fire to the direction of incoming fire, in which case we will randomize one of the other 2 cards for him to shoot at. And then he has another 1 in 5 chance of falling back and moving north up the map. So we're going to draw a card. We're going to look at the 5 column and see which one it is. It is 4. That's what I figured would happen. So he's going to shift his fire to one of these other 2 cards. Honestly, neither one is good, because we don't want to lose the LMG, but we also don't want to lose our platoon HQ, because that would be really bad right now. So no matter what, this isn't great. We would have preferred him to keep shooting at the pinned down team, but it is what it is. And again, all the fire is going to be simultaneous, so even if we do, say, lose the LMG, we might still kill them. But if we don't, yeah, it's rough. But, yeah, okay, we'll see. All right, so we have 2 options, 1 and a 2. We're going to draw a card, and it is 1. Okay, so he's firing at this one, so we've swapped that now. This is at this. This now moves over here, and he will be firing at this turn, and the LMG is exposed, which is quite bad. I mean, he's under the cover, which is good, but it's still quite bad. Okay. So that changes that. Again, we skip these other 2 phases. We skip this. No potential contacts. Pin recovery. Yes. So these are no longer pinned because there is no VOF token on this card. So they're not being shot at anymore. And then we resolve all the combat effects, starting with them. And we'll just see. Let's have some good news first, maybe. So they have +0, +1, -1, -1 for a total of -1. Pinned. Okay, not ideal, but it's something. So they are pinned now. They get +1, but that is going to change their enemy activity because now they're going to go on this pinned column, this pinned table, meaning they're much more likely to like fall back. Then we're going to resolve this one for both of these units, starting with our 3-step unit. He's undercover. He's not exposed. He's in the open field, so he has a total of +0 for the modifier. And he got hit. This is like the worst card, because even if you have a +6, you still get hit. It's really shitty. Yeah, so he got hit, and he is a casualty. So that means we're going to pull a casualty. He flips over to the 2-step side. He's still in good order. He's still, you know, a normal unit, but we have 1 US casualty here that is basically just dead in the water. Can't fire on anything, can't do anything, blah, blah, blah. And then this guy is also pinned down. Okay. That's not great, but he could handle it. The LMG can't handle it. And basically, no matter what hit we sort of pull, the LMG is kind of fucked. That's assuming we get hit, but he's probably going to get hit. We have to be pretty lucky here. He has a -2 modifier for the card. Yeah, he's got hit. So we're going to draw the hit, and it's a casualty, which means that this goes to 2 casualties, and the LMG is just fucking gone, which is really not great, because that was our big advantage. So now we really need to pull in, like, mortar fire or something like that to save the day. So, this can also go away because that's no longer relevant, and obviously nothing is pinned. The casualties don't get pinned because they're just not really doing anything. So this now steps back down to small arms fire, and then since they're pinned, we really have a very slim chance of getting a kill on them or a hit of any kind. So we need to bring in some bigger guns. Now, we could actually command, say, like a fire team to go in there to point blank range and try to, like, grenade them and do like a bayonet charge kind of thing. Um, I've never done that, and I don't know all the rules for that, so I'm not incredibly inclined, but that is something that we could attempt. Well, I shouldn't say I have no idea how to do it. I have some idea how to do it. Because you're basically attempting to make a grenade attack. I don't think our fire team could do it. It has to be a good order unit. But we could send the other unit in. Risky, though. Obviously, quite risky. Yeah, okay. So then that's it. We clean up, and there's nothing to clean up, so that's blah, blah, blah. So we're on turn 4, and we have not really accomplished much, and I'm not doing super well, but what do you expect? It's a really tricky game. Okay, so let's see how many actions we get. Okay, 4 is a more respectable number. We might be able to do something with 4. Also, we are engaged. Yeah, we are engaged. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I got 4 actions. I think, yeah, we really need to get some of this stuff now. We need to get some heavier firepower in to do something. So we're going to move this here for 1. Then one thing that we could do is a platoon move, which is move a platoon to an adjacent card. This has to come from a platoon HQ. It costs 2 command instead of 1. But you move all good order units of that platoon on the same card that are not marked as exposed. So it allows us to move, instead of sending them there for 2, I can basically move all 3 of us for 2. So it's slightly more efficient in this case, but I'll take slightly more efficient. Now I'm putting all my ducks in a row here, which is questionable, but I did it for efficiency reasons. We have 1 action left. So we can attempt to have the AT do a grenade launch, or we could attempt to have the mortar forward observer call in some mortar fire. I don't know the statistics of the action deck of which one is more likely to go. We're drawing 2 cards for either one. For the grenade, we need to see this grenade symbol. For the mortar, we need to see the explosion symbol, not this one. I would guess the grenade is more likely. They're both close to the same effectiveness. The grenade is -4. The mortar fire would be -3. Um, but it would also block line of sight. I think. I think it would. I think. I really don't want to speculate and say something that just is incorrect. Hmm. Well. Hmm. Yes. Yeah, we can also concentrate fire at some point, which does help as well. Hmm. We can also rally, and I shouldn't forget that. There's like a billion things we can do, even with my limited understanding of the rules. Uh. Oh, if we get 2 or more grenade icons, we get a critical hit. That's pretty nice. And even if we miss with the grenade, we still get a -1 modifier, which is pretty nice. Hmm. Um, all right, let's attempt the grenade, I suppose. It's fair enough. So we're going to use our last command to attempt a grenade attack. Grenade. A grenade. Yeah, grenade attack with our AT. Because that can fire. A normal unit can do a grenade attack on the same card, but these that have this G exclamation point can do it up to their range, which is close range in this case. So we're going to draw 2 cards and hoping to see this grenade symbol. Oh, we did. Oh, we did. We drew 2, so that means it's a critical hit, which means it ignores the cover. This sucker gonna blow big, baby. That could not have gone better. They're still gonna fire, but they might not because they are pinned. So they might actually just try to fall back. In which case they will, in which case this grenade won't hit. So we actually kind of want them to fire, but we'll see about that. Let's draw for our general initiative now. Ooh, wow, a 4. So we actually have 2 general initiative actions. Now, we could concentrate fire to really double down on sticking it to this guy. Right now, I mean, if he stays there, he's under a -4 modifier, which is... Oh, no, he's under a -3 modifier total. Yeah, which is close to as bad as it can get. So I don't think that's that's not really my most likely concern. What I think we want to do is to rally these guys back into somewhat of a standard team. So the rally action, yeah, here's all the rally actions. So you can attempt to remove a pinned marker. If you are currently under fire, if you have a VOF, you have to draw 2 cards and check for the word rally, in which case you can remove the pin marker. In this case, that wouldn't really change anything for the most part. I mean, I could potentially get this guy out. Yeah, so the pin guy actually could move, which might be smarter. But I think he will... Yeah, enemies firing at cards without valid target, shift/cease fire. So if I do move him from out of this card, he will shift fire automatically. Like, even before he resolves what activity he's doing, he will shift fire. They won't just keep shooting at nothing for no reason. So, all things considered, there are worse things for him to fire at, such as this. And he will not shift fire because he's pinned. So he's going to be rolling on this table, so there's no chance of him shifting fire to my HQ. So I'd rather just keep that as it is. So we want to rally these other ones that are kind of damaged. So under our rally actions here, we can attempt to convert a paralyzed team to a litter team. However, if you're not under fire, this is automatic. You don't have to draw any cards. It just happens. They just kind of like get their shit together and organize themselves. We can also convert a litter to a fire team. We can also supplement a squad. So if we have a good order 2 or 3 step squad and an unpinned fire or assault team, we can just remove the team from play and add the step. So like right here, we could get rid of this fire team and flip this back to the other side. They could kind of, again, get their shit together, which is pretty nice. We could also move into the Orchard Grove to just keep pushing forward. I don't know if that's smart. I don't know if that's a sensible thing to do. I mean, it sort of is, because as long as we're engaged, we have a much lower chance. We only draw 3 cards to check for potential contacts, so that's actually not a bad idea. I think for now, I'm going to convert... We're going to grab this litter team and turn it into a fire team for 1 action. And then, yeah, I'm going to send the... Should I just send the fire team? No, I'm gonna send the platoon up. So now we have another PDF from this direction. But he is marked as exposed. And that was my general initiative, which was pretty good. I mean, that's pretty good. Okay, next. Right, so they are now going to check for their activities. So now we're under this pinned activity check. They are pinned and undercover, and they are under the no leader column. So we're rolling on these. They have 3 options with a 4 check. So on a 1 or a 2, they will not do anything differently. They're just going to keep firing and hope for the best. On a 3, they will rally and they will try to get rid of the pinned. And then on a 4, they will fall back. And then in this case, that's kind of the worst case scenario, because we have them right where we want them, and they're under a critical grenade. So that's the one thing we don't want to see here is a 4-4. Oh, what do you know? Luck has it that they are going to fall back. So then they immediately fall back to this card. They are no longer pinned. They are no longer in their foxholes. They are exposed. But things are different. They are still firing due to line of sight. And line of sight is, again, like, actual line of sight is like 3 cards. Like, it's basically the whole map as far as how far a unit can see. How far they can fire is based on, the unit type. So these are long range, so that can fire up to 2 cards away. Vertically or horizontally. Or maybe diagonally. I think also diagonally. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. That is yet to come up. But then it's also affected by terrain. So these white borders are open line of sight. So you can see from this open field to this open field. You can see all along. You can see from here to here, blah, 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 blah. The green borders are like closed line of sight, which means that you cannot see from this woods to this woods, because in between it is a dark green border. However, if there's white in between, you can see through it. So you can see from this grove to this grove. And that's why they set this map up this way. So you have like complete line of sight, the segmented kind of line of sight where you can see through to the other, and then closed line of sight where you can't see to the other side. So that means that these woods can see down to these fields because there's just open line of sight there. And all line of sight is reciprocal. So if they can see us, I can see them. So I can fire from here to here. They can fire from here to here. These units, however, cannot fire because that is not like a sort of straight line. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. So these PDFs are now removed. This PDF shifts to here because they can see there. That's a valid angle. So that means he is still under crossfire. He is still under small arms fire. So he's still not in an amazing situation. He's also not pinned. I think I removed that now. So it's still not terrible, but the woods are far more of a defensive position. It's got a +2 NCM modifier, which is bad for us. But he's exposed, so there's a chance. He's at a -1, so there's a chance he gets shot. Okay, and that was his activity for this turn, so that's it. Right. So next we have to, and we are still at the engaged level because there are multiple cards with VOFs on it. So we are fine. We're still engaged, which means that we have then the slim chance of there being a potential contact here. It's a potential contact B under engaged. So 3 cards, and we're looking for the word contact. Well, I guess we're not looking for the word contact. Okay, we didn't get it. So this is discarded, and there's nothing here, which is great. We didn't need more bullshit happening. No one is pinned that shouldn't be pinned. Everyone is still as it was. So now we're going to resolve all the VOFs. Let's start with them. As mentioned, +2, -2, and then -1. So they have a -1 overall. And we're going to draw for that -1. And it is a pin again. We're making it again just hard to fucking hit them. So put the pin on them. However, there is still a silver lining. If they draw that same result again on this table next turn and they fall back, they will fall back off the map, and then we have basically defeated them as far as our mission is concerned. So that's pretty good. Next, we're going to resolve this. This is much better circumstances. We have -1, +1, +1, so we're at a total of +1 for that unit. It's a fucking hit. God damn. Could not catch a break. So we're going to resolve the hit. It's a 2-step hit, a casualty, and a litter. So we're going to bump this up to 3 casualties and then convert this to a litter unit. Blah, 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 blah. Litter. Which means now that we are no longer be able to fire because the litter team does not shoot their guns. So now they're no longer under a crossfire, and we just have small arms. We're no longer exposed. They're no longer exposed. And this grenade is long gone. Technically, this should be here, I guess. This is not good, but not terrible. Not good, not terrible, I guess. We definitely need to get more guns involved. Ideally. And we will. We fucking will. Okay. So we did all the cleanup. We did all that. It is now turn 5. We're going to activate our first platoon. We're going to draw 4 actions. 4 commands. Okay. All right. Well, we can send a unit here. I'm not quite sure how that works about moving into a PDF. I don't know if they become the new VOF target or if they just get caught in the fire, or I don't know. That hasn't come up in the tutorial. A unit's VOF is always placed on the closest occupied card along the PDF. PDF never changes direction in response to opposing units' movement. Okay, then I think that's how it's meant to work. So if I move a unit here, they will become the new target of the VOF immediately, which is not great. But that's what units are fucking for, so I guess do it. I guess do it. Just because I need to be shooting from multiple angles, and I need something to sacrifice. So yes, we're gonna spend an action to send him in. Brave boys. So the VOF immediately switches there. They are also exposed, so they are very likely to get cut to ribbons. We'll see what we can do about them. Then I have 3 more. Now, getting another grenade or or a mortar launch of some kind would be pretty valuable. So I may as well do another platoon movement and just get us up there. Oh, also this is now this way, and we have crossfire. Yeah, let's go ahead and platoon move to get everybody up. And then I'm going to spend my last action to try to call in another grenade fire here. And hope for the best, I suppose. Yeah. 2 cards, and we need a grenade on one of them. And we got unlucky. Okay, not much I can do about that. Then we're going to draw our general initiative. We get 1 action. I could attempt to have the fire team seek cover, but I'd kind of prefer to go for the gold. So fuck it, let's call in a mortar. Yeah, we're gonna call in a mortar. So we're gonna, I mean, it's basically the same thing, but now we're looking for the explosion symbol. 1. Oh god, now it was. Oh god, it was double grenade. Oh jeez. Oh, I fucked up. I fucked up massively. That would have like ended the mission. Ah, oh, damn it. What a whiff. But you don't know, and I should really look through the whole deck and count all the symbols so I know statistically what's more likely. But I have not gotten that nerdy yet. Oh god. Okay. That's everything. So now we're going to check their activity. They are pinned. So again, we might solve this problem immediately. They're pinned, not under cover. So we're looking at 5 things. On a 1 or a 2, they're not going to do anything differently. 3, they will move into or seek cover. On a 4, they will rally to try to get rid of their pinned. And on a 5, they will fall back. So we're drawing a card and looking at the 5s. We got a 4. So they are going to try to rally. So they're going to draw 2 cards and look for the rally word, which they did. So they are no longer pinned. This is kind of good for us in that it hurts their modifier a bit. Not much. I mean, they're still in the woods. So now we're going to resolve the... well, first we resolve the potential contact. We're engaged, and this is a B, so we're drawing 3 cards and looking for the contact word. And we got nothing, so that's another potential contact in the dirt. And now we resolve the hits and the misses and the horribleness, and oh god. +2, -1 is a total of +1. It could still be a hit. No, it's a pin. I'll take a pin under this situation in the hopes that they fall back again. And we just keep beating them back. But this is much worse. This is a total of -3 on a 1-step fire team. -3 pin. We are damn lucky on that, son. Holy shit. Oh, also, you are no longer pinned. Okay, they're pinned. Very lucky. They're no longer exposed. Also, all these guys would have been exposed. It didn't matter. They weren't under fire from anything, but they could have been under fire. Nah, they really couldn't have been. Even if a potential contact showed up here, it would have fired at them. So I don't think it would have mattered, but yes, I should remember to do that. I keep forgetting. Okay, all in all, not too bad. And you know, actions are going to be spent trying to call in grenade launches and mortar attacks and everything I got to try to just bombard this guy back to the Stone Age. But otherwise, yes, it is now turn 6. I don't know if that's a good turn number. It doesn't really say. I thought for one of these missions it was like, yeah, try to resolve this by turn 6. But I think that was the last mission when it was easier. Okay. We're back here. We activate. We draw our card. 4. I will take 4. That is a solid number. All right. Let's not beat around the bush. We're going to try to call on the grenade first. So that's 1. Give me that grenade. Oh, there it is. All right. I'll take a grenade. This is a normal grenade hit. But it doesn't really matter. They're not undercover anyways, so it's all good. -4 now. That's going to put a bee in their bonnet real nicely. Now this is -1, but that's for indirect fire. Indirect fire is more effective in the woods because it just hits the canopy and sends down shrapnel. I wouldn't have guessed that. I would have thought the woods would be a good place, but no, I don't know anything about the military and combat and all that sort of stuff, so that's cool. But that doesn't affect grenades, so yeah, this is bad news for them. This is very bad news for them. Then it doesn't matter too much. What I could do is then move this guy 1 here, and then he could rally the litter team into a fire team, and then send them here. That could be something I do. That's 3 actions. So 1, 2, 3. This cover stays here in case anyone wants to go under it, which I would, just in case. And he's exposed. Yeah, because you can rally, and as long as you're not under fire, it's an automatic action. So that's all good. So now actually, this would be here, which does potentially matter. Okay, that's everything for my actions. Now the general initiative, we have 1. I could move a second fire team to the north. That's not bad. I could also try to have this fire team seek cover. I think he can seek cover. He's a fire team. He can do all actions. So yeah, he can. Yeah, I could also have somebody try to concentrate fire, which we haven't done, but I think this is overwhelming. Not necessarily. He's got +3 and then -5, so he's at -2. It's pretty likely to be a hit, but not guaranteed. I could make it a -3 potentially. But I'd probably rather protect this guy a little bit better than that, so I'm going to try to seek cover with him. And we didn't get it, so that's that. All right, that's it for me. Then the enemy activity. So again, he's pinned, not undercover. So it's a 5-step. He's going 5, which is falling back. Another grenade that he has decided to dodge. I can't blame him. He does get to live to fight another day, but he is done. He is off the map, and thus he's no longer our problem. Unfortunately, I think that does drastically change this, because we immediately update the VOFs, and now there's no PDFs of any kind. I believe. Generally, you update that shit immediately, but you don't cease fire immediately. The enemies cease fire here, but... I don't actually know. This has never happened. I've never done so well. Oh, units won't open fire on empty cards or cards with friendly units present. Hmm. I mean, hmm. Your guys will keep on firing until you issue a ceasefire. With that PDF at the table, you are still at contact by definition. At least that is how I've been playing it. I could be wrong. Okay. So then, according to that, we still are firing at this. So we're still looking at this. But this is gone. And this is going to be, I mean, technically all that's gone. Sort of. But not necessarily, because the potential contact could spawn a unit in the grenade, I guess? But basically we're down to contact now, because there's only one... No, but this says one friendly occupied or enemy occupied card under a VOF marker, or at least one spotted enemies on the map. None of that is true. But then no contact says no VOF or PDF markers are on map and no enemies or units are spotted. So I'm not actually sure if that's true. No, I think this is the oversimplification. I think that's incorrect, and we want to follow what the actual rules say for contact. But that's not correct either. I mean, that's not what people are saying. So now I'm not sure. Now you've fucked me up again. I mean, people seem to be saying that you're just going to keep firing and thus you are on contact. I mean, it really matters because this is the difference between automatic contact with another unit or something or a chance of there being contact. But that's spotting the enemy. Now we're looking at... That's the location once there is a contact. Current activity level. Right. Enemy contact. No contact. If there are no VUF or PDF markers on the map, including unactivated mines and pending fire mission markers, and no enemy units have been spotted, the activity level is not reduced to no contact until both of these conditions are true. It becomes contact, though, when this is true. It doesn't become no contact until both of these are true, and there are no PDF markers and VOF on the field. So, yes, that is the point. This is still true. We're still at contact until we give the order to cease fire, which is here. Cease fire. So it's like, you know, fucking Predator or something. We're just firing into the jungle over and over because we're not quite sure that they're dead yet. That is an important thing to remember. Okay, yes. Especially when you're talking about ammunition and things like that later on. Okay, well, that's good. So that was the end of that. There's none of this. There's none of this. There's none of this. We do resolve the potential contact now. It's a potential contact B, and we're at contact, which means we're going to be drawing 5 cards and looking for the contact. No, 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 no contact. I think we just win then. The objective is to secure the woods on the hill on column 2, row 3. So we have to have units present there and no enemies present, which is what's going to happen pretty soon. But obviously not till next turn. We do the pinned recovery, do the cleanup. There's no firing of any kind. The grenade goes away. The exposed goes away. Blah, blah, blah. And then we're going to tick it over to turn 7. Probably a miserable failure of a timetable there. I'm sorry. We get 3 actions. Doesn't really matter too much, but I'll move here with 1, and then I'll do both of us for 2 more. Oh, well, we wouldn't... Well, no, but they won't fire on friendlies. They specifically won't fire on friendlies. That was discussed. I've never risked it. I've never had to really look at these rules, but I believe that's the intent. And it's always, there's a massive rule book. There's so many different sections, and I'm sure, like, once you get it, finding what you exactly are interested in finding out is probably not that big of a deal. But for now, it's like, I don't know, man. Okay, I'm gonna Google that then. That's usually a lot easier. No, I think they do keep firing. Then I might have to rethink. Well, no, I mean, they're gonna... Yeah, yeah, they have to be given the ceasefire order. Okay, that's right, so I was here. Okay, shit. Then this will take... I mean, the thing is over, but this shows you, like, it might take some time to actually organize everybody. I mean, I don't think the maps get that much bigger than this, so it's like... It's not that big of a deal, but yeah, it's a little bit annoying. I'm gonna have to... So I have to, like, move here, issue a ceasefire, and then move here. You know? And say, hey, you stop firing. Hey, you stop firing. Please, hey, God, stop firing. And then we get our general initiative, which is 1, and I can have this guy stop firing. And then basically all the rest goes by. Nothing happens. We go to 8. We draw a card. We get 5 action. Well, now I can do whatever the fuck I want. And basically, you stop firing, and then you come with me, asshole. Actually, I don't think I had to tell him to do that. So I just have to move him in for 2. I didn't even have to move in. I just want to be here. So there you go. Done. And then we end then it's over. Hey, victory! Did I get rules wrong? I would bet $10,000 on it. Absolutely. But even the rule book says literally, if certain modifiers or enemy placement instructions are forgotten, so be it. Play on. Chances are the situation that has occurred is plausible. And if it makes for a good story later, who's to say it didn't happen that way? It's literally just like, as long as you have fun, like, it's not that big of a deal. Don't take it too seriously. You're probably going to get stuff wrong. And it was fun, and it is fun. Like, I don't know why, really. I wouldn't be able to put a big answer on why this is an awesome game and a really thrilling experience. It seems so small and contained, it's just like a dozen cards and not even a dozen tokens. But there's just something about like the intensity of it and just like the brutality of it and the incredible elegance of this action deck that I just fucking love. It's just incredible mechanic here. And just the amount of different situations and options available to you as you're doing these missions, and I haven't even scratched the surface really. It's just really fucking cool. Not even, and I'm not a wargaming guy, and I'm not like a military or history buff or anything like that. Like, I really don't have much interest in World War II. But just as a game design and everything, it's just so nice and so entertaining. This is a game that I would absolutely love to actually own, and I might buy it. Because it's like not that big of a footprint, and it's not, and one thing I don't like with solo games is either just like massive amount of components and just massive amount of table space, or like a massive amount of card shuffling. I really don't like that. And this one, it's just one deck of cards, and it's 50 cards, and 50 cards is like the perfect amount to shuffle, and the only time you shuffle it is probably at the start, and anytime that reshuffle thing comes out. Like, that's a very minimal part. Everything else is just these little tokens and counters on like a dozen cards or whatever. Like, yeah, I would absolutely play this on a physical table. It's just one of those games. It's just like I would have just not given a second look at ever years back. Just like, oh, Fields of Fire. It's one of those mill sim war game. That ain't me. That really ain't me. But now it's like, nope, Mangg, that's you. uh It's complex. I've said that 100 times, and now I think that's fairly evident to you if you watch this whole video, that it's quite heavy. Um, but, I mean, yeah, like going through the training manual and just kind of building step by step. Once you get the basics down and you're just kind of building off of that, and you get the sort of foundational understanding of the mechanics and the action deck and how that all operates, it is manageable. And it is just really cool. So I'm definitely looking forward to learning more mechanics, and I'm seeing this like, okay, I mean, obviously it gets much bigger because I'm seeing some screenshots here of some people playing, and this guy has like, man, his map is big. This map that he's running is like 30 cards or something. I mean, how many columns is this? This is 8 columns. And like at least 5 rows. That is huge. And so, you have like numerous platoons, and you got multiple COs, and you got vehicles, and you've got all these different situations going on, like the puzzle that this thing builds up into. This was me just struggling to take out one LMG team, like one enemy unit on a small map, and it was already just like, oh fuck, oh god, oh fuck, and just puzzling out like what's the best way to maneuver and what's the best actions to use of my limited actions, and repositioning my HQ, and it's just like, oh god, I can't imagine just the mental puzzle of getting up into this higher end stuff. But it also sounds really cool. Um, and then there's just like numerous mission books and expansions, and like, yeah, you're playing in Vietnam and you're playing in the modern day or something like that. 1950. Yeah, it's really damn cool. It does make me want to get like, I don't know, like a proper multiplayer war game, you know? Like an actual like kind of chit and token war game to play with a group of people. I know most war games are 2 players, but that's just never gonna happen. So I'd like to look into one of these that's like for a group. One what I did look at, it was like World in Flames, which is this massive, massive World War II one. But I don't know if I could ever actually get people to commit to that. So I'd have to maybe poke around to find one that's good, recommended for like a group of 4 or 5 that lasts like, 3 to 6 hours or something. But yeah, I think like war gaming is something that does appeal to me more than just like Euro game compete for victory point bullshit. Something like Risk, but obviously like far more involved. That does appeal to me. So I think there's going to be more videos for Fields of Fire, because I would like to just continue. So I think I'm going to go through. I've got a decent handling of all the mechanics that they're offering for this. Um, for this training mission. We apparently could have gotten enemy grenadier squad, which would have been something, and we could have gotten an LMG in a bunker, which would have been fucked up. That definitely requires some heavy mortar fire, but I don't think that's anything that I couldn't understand. That's not really a new mechanic in any way. It's just kind of a shitty situation mechanic. So I think maybe I'm gonna go through and do the company assault course now. And I'm gonna do that on my own and try to learn all the stuff going on here, which is gonna now add the CO on the board. And it's gonna add, I think, a mortar team, and you're gonna have 2 platoons. So the map's gonna be a bit bigger, slightly bigger now, and slightly more complicated. So this is going to be another step up for me. So I don't want to do that blind on camera. I'm going to learn it, and then we'll attempt this one fresh, and just on our own once I've learned how it's all supposed to go. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how interesting any of this is to watch or hear me talk about anything, but it's just something I think is really cool, and I want to talk about it, and I want to play it, and I want to show it. So there's that. There you go. My name is Mangg. This has been Fields of Fire. I'll see you fine folks in the next part.